Hello, and welcome to Talk to Tony Wilson. Well, a few weeks ago, I sent out a video for everybody to call on somebody that you hadn't talked to in a while. Well, I took my own suggestions and I did that. I didn't call, but I sent a text message. I sent a text message to one of my nurse friends slash colleagues who moved away in pursuit of a different life. Well, during her pursuit, she encountered some injustices and became a courageous leader for equality. I read an article about her. Actually, she had sent it to me a little bit ago, and I was so happy for her. It was felt like I was at a football game and I was on the sideline just cheering her on. I was like, "Go, Joe, go!" I am just so proud of her. But today, Jaquana Davis, like I say, I call her Joe sometimes, but Jaquana Davis, she's going to share part of her story of being a nurse and a courageous community leader and the importance of how that played such an important role in her battle with coronavirus. Her story is going to be told as a mini series where we're going to be airing a little something about every week due to her wishes and her desire to try to conserve her energy as she's recovering with this coronavirus. So, Jaquana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing actually, as I was telling you earlier, yesterday was a better day. Um, what I'm currently struggling with is having low oxygen saturation, um, as relates to COVID pneumonia. So I'm in recovery from that, and I am at home. So yesterday was better than today. Today was not a good day. I had pretty low oxygen levels. So I just try to maintain my energy level.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're not doing well today. I was hoping that it was going to be much better, but from my understanding, that coronavirus, once you get it, it doesn't always just go away. You don't always just heal as fast as some of us think we do. So, can you just give us a little background about coronavirus? How you come in contact with it? When did it all start for you?
It started um the week after Thanksgiving. Is when the Monday after Thanksgiving, my husband is the one that was not feeling well. He was really in tune with his body and his feelings, and that Monday he came home early from work, and then Tuesday, the next day, he woke up and said, "I think I need to go get tested." And so it's that's how it started from there. That was the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Okay. So, what kind of symptoms was he complaining of at the time?
He had a runny nose, body aches, and chills. At that time, we didn't take his temperature. I wasn't thinking about that. Um, I actually thought he was just being a baby and was just had the sniffles. But he was determined that he wanted to go get tested. And part of the reason is because we had our son was in town um, during the Thanksgiving holiday, and all over the news, like they're doing now, Christmas time, they were telling people, don't travel, don't travel. But we had him as a guest anyway. So my husband was really concerned that maybe because my son had flew in, you know, maybe he'd picked something up through the airport or what have you. So he just automatically thought, I need to go get tested. And while he was here, we did go out and we went sightseeing to different places. Um, so that was a possibility that made him think I picked something up while we were sightseeing. And then he has also had quite a few people on his job that have tested positive. So from those three, you know, possibilities, he was really um, anxious to get tested.
So your husband started with symptoms first and went on and got tested. So in the meantime, what was your gut feeling before he got his results? What was your thoughts?
He's been a baby.
So so during that time, did you have any symptoms that you can remember or that you're aware of?
Well, so so he got his test back the next day, and which was Wednesday, I believe. And so, he was having diarrhea, and so I was having just really soft stool, but I had attributed it to, Thanksgiving eating leftover turkey. I dismissed it, didn't think anything of it. He was having like aches and soreness, and I also was having soreness, but I attributed it to having over exercised or strained, but my back was sore, my legs were sore, achy. So while he was on the sofa, because he had already tested positive, while he was on the sofa, resting, drinking fluids, I was on the floor doing yoga, trying to stretch out what I thought was, soreness. He had chills. Um, he did have a temp. I never thought to take my temperature, but basically, in a nutshell, during that time, I was so busy trying to take care of him. I in everything that was happening to me, I disregarded it for something else. I was extremely tired. I woke up like I hadn't had any sleep at all, just really tired. But there again, I chalked it off to I was cleaning, I was, washing sheets for him. I was just and cooking 3 meals. It was a lot going on, and I just thought I've just exhausted myself. Um, and I just ignored it. But I also knew that I needed to get tested. So I didn't get tested though until Friday. So his results came back Tuesday, and I didn't get tested until Friday. So I spent that whole week really just focused on him and trying to get him to.
Having some technical difficulties. Look, your camera has froze. Okay, so we're going to start back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm not sure what everyone heard, but I would like to start, Jaquana, by just asking. I know you mentioned you thought maybe y'all had some sickness from your leftover food in the refrigerators. Um, so when that happened, what were some of the other precautions that you took in the house, thinking you were getting rid of some other bacteria versus the COVID bacteria?
Right. Well, his test results came back pretty quick. He tested on Tuesday and got his results on Wednesday.
Mhm.
So, I really had already gotten into it's COVID mode. But for me, I was thinking what was happening with me, my symptoms was because of old food from Thanksgiving. I never did the first week, I never did get sinus drain or anything like that. I just had the body aches. I was extremely tired. Um, and that was really the main thing. I really the first week didn't have a fever. So my focus was on taking care of him and trying to find a test site, because I didn't get tested until Friday. So that whole week, my focus was on him, and I was just ignoring all of whatever symptoms I had. My focus was on him. I wasn't even thinking about myself.
So, how did your son turn out? Did he get tested as well? Or?
He did. He turned up negative.
Okay. So we know he didn't bring it to you for Thanksgiving then, right?
Exactly. And truth be told, I can share with everybody he was here for about 5 days. And the entire time he was here, we made him wear a mask. And this was just us. Actually, we all wore masks and we were just trying to protect ourselves from each other because we just didn't know. And I'm so glad we did that, because had we not all worn masks, then whatever we had, we would have given to him.
That is true. That's, I'm glad you said that because that tells us that masks are good for helping to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Hmm.
That's wonderful. I mean, you were all, I mean, see, he said he traveled by plane to you all and then stayed in the same house with you all. But like say, what you're doing your masking in the home as well, and he tested negative. That's great. That,
Hmm.
that's good information to know.
Yes.
So with you taking care of your husband, did any medical professional suggest any particular type of care? Did they suggest that you treat the symptoms or anything of how to take care of somebody that has COVID-19?
Well, when my husband got his test, he was fortunate enough to actually go to a testing site where there was a doctor that that he didn't get examined, but he did talk with him and he gave him information. He was given literature, told what signs and symptoms to look for, and on the literature it did tell him, to drink fluids and rest and all of this. And then he also had a nurse, after the doctor spoke with him, had a nurse that actually did perform the test. So all of that information was given to us, in a handout. And then they followed up with him, like every day they were calling and asking him how he was doing. um, but at that test site, I wasn't able to get tested. They it was, it was his insurance or whatever that would only allow him to get tested. I had to get testing through a different source.
So are you doing okay right now? I know we've talked for just a little while, but I know me and Jaquana had a conversation, telephone conversation, a few weeks, couple weeks ago, and I guess we were on the phone for about an hour and a half, I believe, because we were just catching up. And the next day, it wasn't a good day for her. But that's going to be a part of another conversation that we have. So, are you doing okay right now? You know,
This moment I am. Yeah, my conversation after my conversation with Tony, um, and I think I mentioned before how just so extremely tired I had been during the week that I was taking care of my husband. But this was me sitting on the sofa, talking to a girlfriend, um, just having a general conversation. We did talk for about an hour and a half, but there was no physical work in it at all, just moving my mouth. And so I abruptly stopped the conversation and said, I can't keep talking, Tony. I'm so sorry. I said, I've got to go. I'm so tired. And I hung up the phone, laid down. I mean, it's just about passed out. And the next morning is when I told my husband I needed to go to the hospital. So, in a way, Tony saved my life with talking so much.
I don't know if I saved it or caused you to have more symptoms, but I'm just so glad to be able to talk to you right now. I am.
Yes. Yes.
But like I say, we're gonna continue to talk to Jaquana, but we have to do it in intervals because we do want her to heal. We want her to get better, but we still want to hear her story. So right now, Jaquana, is there anything else that you would like to share at this time before we?
Yes. I called Tony and said, I want to go on your video channel because I want I need to tell my story. And the story is I want people to know not to wait, not to ignore the signs and symptoms. Don't keep going and going and going and going, because that's what I did. And everything um, that I was feeling, I would write it off to something else. I was so focused on trying to, take care of my husband. If you're starting to feel something, even if it's simple, because for me, it didn't, all these symptoms that they talk about, it doesn't just come on you all at one time. That was just week one. Week two is when I was slayed and had to go to the hospital and was diagnosed with pneumonia. It for me, I don't know how it would happen with other people, but it was very gradual. Um, one symptom would start and end, and then another one would start and end, and then another one would start and end. Even the nose running, when my nose finally did start running, it ended. It didn't keep going. So, really being in tune with your body and taking it serious. And then the other thing I wanted to share was having a plan. The same way we have a plan for, if you're in your home and you have an upstairs, downstairs, and there's a fire. I know you've already taught your children, if we're upstairs and there's a fire, this is how you're going to escape the house. We teach our children, if there's an active shooter at school, this is what you do. You're going to go into the corner of the room, shut off all the lights. If there's a tornado, we know to go into the basement of our homes. So we have plans for all of these catastrophes. But why have we not sat down in our homes individually and come up with a plan for COVID? So I did not have a plan. I did not have a provider, um, a primary care provider. I didn't know where the COVID testing sites were because, like I said, my husband was able to get his test, but I had to go out and find my own test. And it took me 3 days, from him getting his results or getting tested Tuesday until I wasn't able to get tested until Friday. So things could have been different if I had gotten my test results sooner or if I had gone and gotten tested sooner. So come up with a plan for yourself and your family. Already know where your testing sites are. Already know what your insurance will and won't cover. Already know what your provider will allow or not allow, because most of these providers do not want people coming into their office. So you need to know that there's a lot that you need to think about ahead of time. I hadn't thought about any of these because, in general, I am a very healthy person. So I don't take time to think about, um, I'm going to get sick, this is going to happen. But, we've got to think ahead, find this information out because, God forbid, you don't want COVID. But when you get it, um, there's so much stress and so much anxiety that for me I wasn't able to think quickly, and it's just a lot that goes into it. But if you already have a plan in place, all you have to do is just follow the plan. So I had given Tony the link to the Health and Human Services, I believe it is. It's hhs.gov, hhs.gov, um, and it tells you all the testing sites in the United States for people with insurance and for people without. So, because I did not have insurance at the time, um, And that was my own fault. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Once again, not taking care of myself. I had not made the necessary adjustments when my husband and I moved from California to the area that we're in now. So, starting a new relationship with a provider, letting my insurance company know that I had moved. It was just so I had to do all of that, and I was sick, and and you're not feeling well. So again, Tony, I'm sorry to beat a dead horse, but my point is take care of yourself. I am a registered nurse, and you would think that I would already know these things and I would have had these things in place, but I did not. So I know the average Joe probably hasn't really sat down and thought about this either. And it is my heart's cry to tell everybody save yourself, take care of yourself, and get these things in place, get them in order. HHS.gov will tell you where the testing sites are in your area. So know that, have a plan, be safe, and be well.
Um, and like I said, if you've watched some of my videos, you know one of my main focuses get to know your own body and understanding when there's something different going on. You don't have to know what it is, but when you know something is not right within your own body, go get it checked out. And Jaquan just made a good point. Have a plan. An insurance policy is a plan. Know how and when you can go see a doctor, and know that it can be taken care of with your insurance. Know what's on your insurance policy. So another thing I just want to add, so if you don't have the insurance, make a plan of figuring out how you're going to get some. We owe it to our own selves to take care of our bodies. If that's all you have for now, have anything else for now?
That's it.
Okay. So folks, that ends another talk to Tony Wilson. So to all I will say, you have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, for sharing my story.
And again, like I say, her story is going to be in segments. So please watch weekly for updates on how Jaquana's doing.